So I'm just gonna start. I'm not gonna get too like. But yeah, so okay. All right. Comfortable.
Yes.
Okay. Good. All right. Okay, so in your experience with public speaking, what are some personal strategies you've used to deal with nervousness?
Well, I have a tendency to just want to not overthink what I'm going to speak about. So I try to not overthink. I try not to second guess myself when I'm speaking publicly. I strive for clarity when I speak. Typically, I may think a little beforehand, review what I'm wanting to say a few times in my mind, but after that, I just go with it, because if I overthink it, then I just make it worse.
Okay, that's good. All right. Let's see. All right. So what are some tips you would personally provide to someone to help them overcome just stage fright and nerves?
Well, I think a certain amount of nervousness is natural. So I believe that one of the first steps is to just embrace that reality, that there's going to be a certain amount of nervousness when you're speaking in front of people, especially if you're speaking in front of a crowd of people that are not familiar with you. They're new to you, you're new to them. So I think it's important to just confront that. Just say, okay, I am nervous. And then breathe. And then make yourself relax. Because if you are comfortable with the subject matter, if you're familiar with it and it's something that you're passionate about, the initial nervousness is going to fade away. So if you're passionate about what you're going to be talking about in front of publicly, then the nervousness will eventually subside. That's what's been my experience. Another thing is to make sure that when you're speaking with the audience, to not focus. You can imagine that the people in the audience are your friends, that they're a friendly audience, even though they may not agree with everything you're saying. But if you're passionate about what you're speaking about, and you imagine that those people in the audience are passionate about the same thing, then just go with it. Try not to focus on one face in the audience. It's best to find a point above the heads of the audience and practice just trying to embrace the room or that space as much as you can. So I believe that goes a long way toward dispelling nervousness. Is be passionate about what you're talking about, and imagine that the people that you are in front of are just as passionate.
Okay, that's good. I like that. All right. Now for the ending note, is there any further advice you would give beginning speakers?
If you are just beginning your journey in public speaking, in whatever setting you are called to speak, whether it is a teacher or a spiritual leader or a politician. I believe it's very important to focus on clarity. I believe it's important to do what you can to connect with your audience. Whether that is making sure to include personal examples in what you're talking about. It is very easy to stand in front of an audience and just speak facts or share facts. But in order to connect with your audience, you should practice telling stories. Because people relate to stories. Jesus was a great spiritual leader, and he often communicated with people by telling stories. And so people can emotionally connect with stories. And when you can, and if you're comfortable sharing a personal story as it relates to what you're talking about, that may help you connect with your audience even more. Also, avoid fillers. Did you catch it? Try as much as you can to avoid ums and just strive for conciseness even when you're speaking. Be concise. It is okay to have a comfortable silence between your statements, but when you use a lot of fillers, it can make you seem as if you are nervous and also not in command of the audience, not in command of or not secure in what you're speaking of. Also, it's good to practice. Practice. In this age of technology, it's easy to take your cell phone and record yourself, and you might even send your recording to a friend or share it with a family member and receive some feedback. Because we all have habits when we speak. Typically, most of us have some kind of habits, whether it's maybe moving our hands, or maybe we are, if we kind of shake our leg when we speak. We all have some kind of habits that most of the time we're unaware of, little physical things that we may be doing, or verbal things. And so it's important to be aware of that and to try to work on that if those habits distract from the effectiveness of the message that you're relaying to your audience. So if you are talking about important subject matter, you certainly don't want the audience to focus on a physical habit that maybe you're one that plays with your hair, or you're adjusting your clothes in some way, but those little things. And just try to stay relaxed. And again, imagine that you're in a room full of people that are there. They are there to hear what you have to say. So I think those are some tips. Good tips are useful for anyone that is going to be speaking in public. Yeah. And don't forget to smile. Smiling is important. Throw in a smile. Be friendly. Have a friendly energy or air about you. Even if the subject matter is hard or controversial, you can still, be friendly in your presentation.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks, Mom. That was awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, it's not turning on.